The Year of Billy Miller, Part 3, Sister. Billy Miller hated his sister. At least right now he did. Sal was crying, wailing really, so loud that Billy had gone to his room, shut the door, flung himself on his bed, and buried his head under his pillow. The crying continued, and Billy could not escape it. The sound penetrated the pillow, then it seemed to be coming from deep inside him like an extra, throbbing, irritating pulse. Finally, the crying stopped. Billy didn't believe it at first. He pushed aside his pillow and cocked his head. Nothing. He rolled off his bed and tiptoed to the door. He opened it a crack. Not a sound. Tentatively, he headed downstairs to check out the situation. He stopped on the landing and looked out the window. It was dark. The street light at the corner was on, illuminating the fallen snow. Like dandelion fluff, the snow drifted slowly to the ground, and Billy continued quietly to the living room. Sal was on the couch nestled against Gabby, Sal and Billy's babysitter. Sal was silent, but her body was heaving and shuddering in an oddly rhythmic pattern. Gabby was stroking Sal's hair. When Gabby saw Billy, she gave him a thumbs up side. "Ruby's cupboard is back on schedule," said Gabby, "if you're still up for it." "Yes," said Billy. "Good," said Gabby. "I'm hungry. I'll help Sal wash up, and then we can go." Sal lifted her head and swiveled it like a periscope. She seemed to be searching, seeing if Mama and Papa had magically reappeared. Her eyes were red-rimmed and her cheeks were splotchy. "I cried so much, I'm washed enough," she said in a hoarse whisper. "Good point," said Gabby. She prodded Sal playfully. "Well, let's go get our coats and hats and mittens on." Billy was ready in a flash. Maybe part of the evening could be salvaged. He had a vision as to how this night was going to be, and mostly his vision had crumbled to pieces. It was Friday. Mama and Papa had driven to Chicago for a party at the gallery that was showing Papa's new artwork, his assemblages. They were going to stay at a hotel in Chicago and return the next afternoon. The plan had been that Ned was going to spend the night at Billy's house. Gabby was going to take Billy, Ned, and Sal out for dinner. They'd have hot dogs, onion rings, and root beer. Dessert would be ice cream sundaes. And most exciting, Bill and Ned were going to stay awake all night, something Billy had never done before. This part of the plan was a secret. But Ned had thrown up at school during afternoon recess, and even though he'd sworn on the phone from home that he felt fine, Mama canceled the sleepover. "I don't want you or Sal getting sick," she said to Billy, checking his forehead for a temperature. "Gabby will still take you to Ruby's cupboard. You'll still have a good time." Billy had tried to adjust his attitude. He reminded himself how much he loved to eat out, and reminded him that he could stay up all night without Ned. Why not? It would still be one of the major events of his life. But then as Mama and Papa drove away, Sal burst into tears. A delayed reaction. It was as if something inside her suddenly broke or popped or was switched on. She was hysterical. Gabby, Billy, and even the Drop sisters were powerless to soothe her. The gushing of tears went on and on and on. Billy couldn't stand it. He put his hands over his ears. He'd gone from trying to be helpful to being annoyed to feeling angry. "Can we go now, please?" he repeated loudly over the relentless crying. "I'm working on it," said Gabby calmly. "We might just have to eat here," she told Billy. Billy curled his lip. "No," he said. He stormed up to his room, hiding and seething, and that's where he'd stayed until the crying had stopped. At last, things were back on track. Gabby was driving Bill, Sal, and the Drop sisters to Ruby's cupboard in her car. "Isn't the snow pretty?" asked Gabby. "It's so feathery, like snow in a movie." "It's fury," said Billy, staring out the window. "Furry, it's furry," said Billy, staring out the window. When he'd stepped out of the house, it was as if a curtain of peacefulness had fallen over the neighborhood. It was quiet. The air smelled wet and white. "Will Ruby still be open?" asked Billy. "Definitely," said Gabby. "It's not that late." To Billy, it seemed that Sal had cried for hours, and he was starving. "Are you going to get a hot dog?" he asked Sal. Instead of saying yes or no, Sal responded with a sad whimper. Is everything okay? Salamander asked Gabby. Sal sniffled. I'm okay. It was just a leftover cry, she sniffled again. But the Drop sisters might cry. I told them that Mama and Papa are gone. Billy pinched his eyes closed with his thumb and index finger. Oh no, he thought. Here we go again. But right after that, they pulled into the parking lot, and Gabby said, We're here, and to Billy's great relief, Sal let out a little squeak of joy. Once inside the restaurant, Sal was a different person. She became chatty and playful, almost giddy. I love it here, she said. I really, really love it here. So do the girls. She kissed the Drop sisters one by one and then plunked each down on the seat beside her. Gabby had requested a booth to accommodate the Drop sisters, which also made enough space for everyone's mittens, hats, scarves, and puffy winter jackets. There sure is a lot to look at, said Gabby. It's like being inside a pinball machine. Billy was mesmerized. They were surrounded by blinking lights, paper lanterns, and flickering traffic signs. A train ran continuously on the track around the room. The track was attached to a ledge that was mounted to the wall. Brightly colored miniature hot air balloons inched back and forth on wires overhead, crisscrossing the ceiling. Large papier-mâché animals were stationed between the tables. Billy's favorite was a lion whose mouth was wide open, showing a mountain range of jagged teeth. But the best thing about Ruby's cupboard was the food, especially the onion rings were as big as donuts. It was the kind of food Mama and Papa didn't approve of, except on special occasions. So, Billy tried to enjoy every single second of every single mouthful. While they were eating their hot fudge sundaes, the family at the table next to theirs broke into a lively rendition of Happy Birthday. We should celebrate something, said Sal. No singing, said Billy. He did not want to be embarrassed. We could celebrate your dad's show or the beautiful snowfall, Gabby suggested. We could celebrate me, said Sal. I know, said Billy. We can celebrate the year of the dragon. I'll show you. Excuse me. He searched for his jacket and dug into one of the pockets. He pulled out two things, an envelope and a pearl. I almost forgot about these. What is it? Asked Sal. Her eyes had zeroed in on the pearl. Miss Silver told us about the year of the dragon today. The Chinese New Year started on Monday. It's different than our New Year because theirs is lunar, which means the moon, explained Billy. We didn't do anything special at school for the year of the rabbit, so Miss Silver had a dragon party today. We ate tangerines because they're a symbol of good luck, and we watched Chinese dancers on the computer. Billy paused, trying to remember everything Miss Silver had taught them. The dragon can have the head of a donkey and the body of a snake, or it can just be a dragon. But what's that? Sal asked, still focused on the pearl. Oh, said Billy, the dragon carries a pearl in its claws. The pearl means it has supernatural powers, so Miss Silver gave one to everybody. He held up the pearl and rolled it on his fingers. It's magic. He acted as if the pearl were coming to life in his hand. What's the envelope? Asked Gabby. It's an empty envelope, but it has a dragon stamp on it. It's official. A real stamp. Miss Silver's brother works at the post office. See, Billy presented the envelope so that Gabby and Sal could look at the dragon stamp. Miss Silver should write a letter to someone. To wish them a happy Lunar New Year? Asked Gabby. Sure, said Billy. Or Miss Silver said we could use it as a thank you note or to tell someone you appreciate them. She said no one writes letters anymore, and it's a nice thing to do. You could write Miss Silver a thank you note for the envelope, said Sal. Gabby smiled. Bill shot Sal a dismissive look. Can I have the pearl? Asked Sal. No, said Billy. Gabby clasped her hands. Okay, everyone, get a big spoonful of ice cream. On the count of 3, we'll eat them. Then we'll make a dragon face and roar softly. And we'll have a good year. Gabby counted. They all ate. They all made dragon faces. They all roared. I couldn't eat another bite, said Gabby. She pushed away the remains of her sundae. She sighed loudly and placed her hands on her belly. Do you have a food baby? Asked Billy. Gabby laughed. I think I do, she said. Where did you learn that expression? Kids say it at school. What's a food baby? Asked Sal. It's when you eat so much, said Billy, that your stomach feels big, like you're having a baby. Boys can't have babies, said Sal. Boys can have food babies, said Billy. Okay, you two, let's bundle up and go home, said Gabby. It took a while to get dressed for outside. Can I get a cup of coffee to go? Billy asked Gabby as he adjusted his scarf. Are you crazy? She said. You don't drink coffee. You'd be up all night. That's my plan, thought Billy. Gabby tugged Billy's knitted cap over his eyes and then pulled it up and flashed him a toothy grin. You're funny, she said. She tossed the pillowcase with the drop sisters over her shoulders like Santa Claus with his bag of toys and led the way out the door into the wintry world. It's cold, said Sal. It was, and Billy felt the cold press against his face, stinging his eyes and nose, but deep within himself he felt a core of warmth. Because of the food and because he was getting excited about staying up all night. As they tramped to the car, Sal tweaked Billy's jacket sleeve. Snowflakes were catching in her eyelashes, turning them to lace. What are you going to do with the magic pearl? She asked. I don't know, said Billy. And he truly didn't. But he did know one thing. He was not going to give it to Sal. He didn't really think the pearl had supernatural powers. But she thought so. And that made the pearl very powerful indeed. I wonder what will happen next. You have to wait and find out in Sister chapters 3 and 4.